Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hawks Latest, your number one source for news, updates, rumors, opinions, and you guessed it, the latest and the greatest regarding the Atlanta Hawks. I'm your host, Zach Langley, aka Langley ATL, and today we've got a lot to cover because something happened yesterday that we have been waiting on all summer. The NBA has finally dropped the full 82-game schedule for each team for the 2025-26 NBA season. Lots of hype around that. I mean, it's loaded with big matchups for Atlanta, high-profile opponents, and plenty of national TV exposure. It's not exactly at the number that I would personally like to see, but it is a step up from next year, meaning they're getting some media spotlight that they didn't have in the past. We already knew about some games, including the ones that they would play for the NBA Cup group play. Also, I mean, that includes the highly anticipated return of DeAndre Hunter on November 28th. That's a homecoming that we won't want to miss. And we already knew who the Hawks were going to face on MLK Day, the Milwaukee Bucks, but now we can see the entire road that Atlanta will have to travel to make some noise this season. There's a lot of expectation for the Hawks, and I certainly am looking forward to getting the season started. It's right here, guys. I mean, we're about a month and a half away until preseason. We're a little over 2 months until the actual season starts, but it's gonna creep up on us. In no time, we'll have Hawks basketball back on the TV again, which is just awesome to hear after a long off season. But it's been action packed, so it's really kind of flown by in a way. From opening night against Toronto to late season showdowns with Milwaukee and Cleveland, we're gonna break down the entire schedule right here in today's episode for you guys. The early challenges, the middle of the season grind, and the post All-Star push. And of course, at the end of the video, I'm going to give you guys my predictions for the schedule and how I think the Hawks will stack up against their opponents this season. I'm going to give you guys my first record prediction, so hopefully you guys are tuned in for that. And then also, after that happens in today's video, I want you guys to comment below what you think the Hawks record will be in 2025, 2026. So without further ado, let's waste no time and go ahead and get into breaking down this schedule. So the Atlanta Hawks are going to open their 2025-26 season at home on Wednesday, October 22nd. They're going to host the Toronto Raptors at 7:30 p.m. Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley. That should be a fun team. It should still be a W for Atlanta to start their season, but nonetheless, it's not a team to sleep on. It will be an exciting one regardless. Both teams will be fired up to go ahead and show that they belong at the top of the Eastern Conference. That game's going to be opening night presented by State Farm. Atlanta's going to have 13 nationally televised games this upcoming season. So here's the breakdown of that. They're going to have 3 games on ESPN/the ESPN app, 3 on NBC/Peacock, 4 exclusively on Peacock. We don't have a ton of details on how we're going to be able to access those games, but we will know in due time. And when we get that information, we certainly will push that to you guys here on Hawks Latest. Also, 3 on NBA on Prime. So there's certainly a lot of outlets where you can watch NBA games this season. So it's going to be all over the place. But nonetheless, the Hawks have 13 nationally televised games, a step up from last year where they had 8. It shows that the media is starting to pay a little bit of attention to what the Atlanta Hawks have done this offseason and who they could potentially be this upcoming season. The Hawks are going to start with 2 of their first 3 at home, but it's not easy whatsoever. Toronto and then the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder. They're going to be Atlanta's second home game after going to Orlando after the first game. They've also got a road trip sandwiched between, but that's immediately followed by the tough 4-game road stretch, Chicago, Brooklyn, Indiana, and Cleveland. So they're home, and then they're on the road, and then they're home. So it's a pretty even way to start the season, I guess. When they return home, they're going to get that high-profile Southeast Division matchup against Orlando on November 4th, and that one is certainly a big deal. It's going to be the first Hawks game on NBC since 1999, back in the second round of the playoffs against New York. That's right, we're talking over 2 decades since NBC basketball came to Atlanta. It's back this season in place of TNT. If you're unaware, it was a big storyline last season. But just a few days later, though, the Lakers are going to be rolling into town on November 8th. And then Atlanta's off on a West Coast swing against the Clippers, Kings, Jazz, and Suns. The schedule makers seriously wasted no time in giving the Hawks some serious tests. And speaking of that, we're going to focus on 2 of those early games for a moment. The Oklahoma City Thunder and Los Angeles Lakers matchups. Opening against Toronto could be a 1-0 start. really could. I think we match up well against them, even though they're certainly made some good acquisitions over the past few months. But the Thunder game just 2 nights later will be a reality check. We're going to see what this Hawks team is really made of pretty early in the season. It's going to be on the second night of a back-to-back, and the Thunder are going to be coming in rested. They'll have 2 days off while we will be just having played in Orlando. That's never, ever an easy spot for any team, let alone the defending champs led by reigning MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But here's the thing. This is not the same Hawks team we saw last year. I mean, not in the least. With Jalen Johnson healthy, Kristaps Porzingis added to the front court. Hopefully he stays healthy. I would assume he'd be healthy 3 games into the season, but you never know with him. And Dyson Daniels adding elite perimeter defense to potentially contain SGA. This matchup suddenly looks far less one-sided. I think this is a team that Atlanta will match up well against, so it's going to be a great early test to see just exactly how far they could go. If Daniels can slow SGA, Atlanta's bigs might have a real chance to swing that game in their favor, because OKC is not going to know what's coming to them. And then not long after this OKC matchup, which is going to be super difficult, here come the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and the LA Lakers are heading into town. And Atlanta hasn't historically fared well against either player. LeBron kind of ran the Eastern Conference back in the day, and Luka Doncic dropped 73 points against the Hawks a couple seasons ago. I was in attendance for that game. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. But nonetheless, they're coming into Atlanta. Last time LA came into State Farm Arena, though, Trae Young buried that game-winning 3 in overtime. That was a super fun game just last year, but that was before, obviously, the LeBron and Luka pairing. The Hawks actually haven't played that LeBron and Luka pairing yet, so that will be their first look at them, the new look Lakers. And also, this is going to be the 5th home game of the season. So, I mean, they're wasting no time sending these Western Conference opponents into Atlanta. That's not something we usually see a lot. Last year, we had a lot of Eastern Conference teams as a part of their first real stretch of home games of the season. The league clearly wants the Hawks tested early. I mean, 2 of the Western Conference most star-studded teams within the first few weeks of the season. It's pretty insane. I mean, if Atlanta can hold their own here and stay above 500 through this stretch, it will seriously go a long way towards proving that they are more than just a trendy preseason pick. They're here to stay and could be real contenders in the Eastern Conference. So now let's kind of break down the heart of the schedule. I mean, the middle, and really what to expect with that. So for the NBA Cup, Atlanta's group stage games are set, and we knew these. We've known these for a few days now, but I'm going to break it down again. October 31st at Indiana, a Halloween game. November 7th versus Toronto. November 25th at Washington, and also November 28th versus Cleveland, which is going to be the DeAndre Hunter homecoming night that we previewed earlier. If they advance, those knockout round games will be added later. Atlanta could potentially be playing 83 games instead of 82 games. So December is seriously a much friendlier stretch for the Hawks. 8 of 12 games will be at home, including a season-high tying 5-game homestand. The defending champion Nuggets do visit on December 5th. The Spurs on December 19th, the Knicks on December 27th, and the Timberwolves on New Year's Eve at 3 p.m. That homestand could seriously be a momentum builder. If they can come away with a very positive record after that homestand, it certainly will be a good indicator and give them some momentum towards the end of the season. January, though, certainly does flip the script a little bit. It's going to be a tough month. 10 of 16 games are on the road, including another brutal 4-game West Coast trip. Denver, Golden State, Los Angeles, Lakers, and the Portland Trailblazers. The Trailblazers, don't sleep on them this season. That is a team that it's going to be very interesting, and I don't expect them to make the playoffs in a very loaded Western Conference, but they've got a perfect mix of veterans and young players ready to make a leap, and great defensive-minded team. I mean, they've got some great defensive vets and defensive young players, and also Shaedon Sharpe, who's a very underrated player, could take a scoring leap next season. So certainly watch out for them, and playing them on the road isn't going to be any sort of easy task, really. The highlight is January 19th, MLK Day, when the Hawks do host Milwaukee at 1 p.m. in State Farm Arena. That game is always a special event, and this year it's back in Atlanta after being on the road last season for whatever reason. Certainly an interesting decision from the NBA. But nonetheless, we're going to talk about how Atlanta could do in the final portion of the season. So the NBA All-Star Game in 2026 is set for February 15th in Los Angeles at the Intuit Dome. That should be super fun. Hopefully the Hawks have 2 representatives there at the All-Star Game. Trae Young certainly should be back in it this year, not just as a player replacement, but as a real rotation player, maybe even an all-star starter. Maybe Jalen Johnson as well can be a first-time all-star this upcoming season. I certainly think that would add to a lot of momentum if he is selected as well. I mean, averaging over 20, 10, and 5 in that Eastern Conference should be able to get you in. When the Hawks come out of that break, though, the schedule seriously does tilt in their favor, and this is why, and I'm going to break it down in a minute of what I think the record's going to be, but I think this stretch is super important for the Hawks because of how easy it could be. 10 of the next 12 games are at home. Dallas comes in on March 10th, Milwaukee on March 14th, and Orlando on March 16th. Then on March 21st, Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors make their annual stop in Atlanta. That one should be a packed one and will be fun. Trae Young, Steph Curry duels are always super fun to be in attendance for. April is that final push. The Knicks visit on April 6th. The Hawks actually only played the Knicks 3 times this season, a step down from this past season where they played them 5 times. They've got the Cavs on April 10th, and then the season actually wraps up April 12th in Miami. In total, Atlanta has 13 back-to-backs this season, which is about average, but several are road-home splits that are seriously going to test their recovery. They'll face every West team twice and most East teams 4 times, with some slight imbalance in Chicago, Milwaukee, and New York, which, Chicago and Milwaukee might not be too good this season, but New York only playing them 3 times is going to be a bit of an advantage for Atlanta. Given that they are projected to be the 1 seed in the East this upcoming season. A lot of analysts choose to believe that it's either going to be them or Cleveland. Maybe even Atlanta takes that push. I don't know. But those for those wondering, all games are not going to be on. I mean, all games not on national TV will air locally on FanDuel Sports Network and on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game with Steve Holman on the call as always. So what do I think happens? I'm locking in a prediction right now. 50 wins. I've got the Hawks finishing 50-32, which should put them in the top 4 of the Eastern Conference. You would really think, with how weak the East is at this point, at this day and age, 50-32 should lock them in as maybe a 3 seed. I think they make another NBA Cup Final Four run, which should give them a lot of momentum going into the second half of the season, especially if they get those 2 All-Star selections. I think they could finish the season seriously strong. We just got to see these guys stay healthy. I mean, legitimate momentum is important. I mean, this team's mix of youth, size, shooting, and defensive versatility is seriously way better than it has been in years. If they stay healthy, there's no reason they can't make any sort of deep run, whether that's in the regular season or, following into the playoffs. But that's just me. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Drop your record predictions in the comments below. And as always, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any Hawks news, any breakdowns or game previews right here on Hawks Latest. I can't wait to get the season started with you guys. It's going to be super fun. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to be covering a lot more regarding the schedule. We're going to be getting in detail over the next several days. So be sure to tune in. And like I said, turn on those notifications. But thank you guys for watching. I'm Zach Langley. This has been Hawks Latest, and I'll see you guys next time.